Hello again, everyone. Todd Michael Putnam here from D&D Creative Table Designs, bringing you another adventure table idea. This one is The Stranded Pirates. The Stranded Pirates. And the premise of it is pretty simple. Obviously, an ocean-going adventure, and the heroes are traveling along on the privateer ship that they have hired themselves out on, and they're out hunting pirates. But of course, it could be they could just be on a merchant ship or whatever. It doesn't matter. But in this case, they're on a privateer ship, and they come across a ship which is obviously in great distress. Clearly, during a storm, it was knocked up onto some rocks that it was unable to avoid, and it has become so lodged on the rocks as to be unsalvageable that the members of the crew are unable to remove it from its rather beached state on these outcroppings on the ocean. They, at some point, have made an attempt to sail off, but the currents are just too great, and it looks like it pushed it right back up onto the rocks. And instead, since they realized they were going to be there for a while, they started salvaging parts of the hull itself and the upper decks and making planks out and basically extending a sphere of protection or outreach around the ship itself. Sort of a Robinson Crusoe type thing, but literally right out on the ocean itself. So you can see that there's a number of planks leaving off of the ship that go on to the small outcroppings around it. And they are using those as bases in order to be able to look around and reach out, possibly go fishing or swimming or whatever it is that they need to do. That they are making happen. The players, of course, would try and have some dialogue with them, find out what's going on. The pirates may try and lie and say they aren't pirates, or their ship could be identified possibly by their captain as being one, or the fact that there isn't a flag raised. There's lots of parley that would go on. The pirates would undoubtedly probably try and trick them into thinking that they were just merchants or something like that, but one would have to see if the ruse itself held. But if they could try and trick them and then take their boat and then see if they could go after and get themselves onto the player's ship itself. These are obviously very desperate men, and so they'll do anything in order to try and escape. But of interest, some of the wood timbers and stuff from the ship have actually been fashioned into spikes on the low side of the ship, and so it appears that they have been fighting something off, and you don't know what it is. But what you can see there are lots and lots of fins in the water. On this side of the ship, there's lots of small fins for small hammerhead sharks, black tip sharks, things like that, more regular sized sharks. But on the other side, what the players aren't aware of is that two of the crew members at some point during the journey or while they were stranded have been turned into were sharks, and so now they are patrolling around in the water with their giant shark friend here, a giant great white shark, and patrolling around in the water for whatever it is that has been attacking them, possibly getting food for the rest of the crew, and of course searching for an opportunity to take advantage of anyone who presents themselves and could give them a way off of this rock. So, of course, when the players are going along in their small little dinghy, if they decide to get in one and head across and see if they can either save the merchants or work a deal with the pirates in order to take their treasure from them in exchange for their freedom or their lives, then potentially the giant shark, just to give you an idea, that's the dinghy, this is the shark. So you could see that there could be all kinds of problems when you're in that small boat and getting rocked a bit just by being hit and knocked into the water. Then all of a sudden they're at the mercy of all these other smaller sharks, which seem to be coalescing around this area. So not to mention the direction that they might receive from the wereshark pirates. So they could actually be coordinated intelligent attacks as opposed to just a dumb animal shark attack. They could be actually showing some strategy because they are being directed by the were sharks, which would make the encounter significantly more difficult and dangerous than the players might expect. So that's the idea. However, of course, if they were managed to overcome the pirates, then and they get on board, that, or I should say, overcome the sharks and get on board, then they have to deal with the pirates themselves, who, depending on how the scenario goes, could be continuing their ruse that they're shipwrecked merchants, or and then surprise attack them as pirates. Could go any number of ways, of course. But of course, in the long run, if they overcome everything, whether it's through dialogue or through combat, force of arms, then whatever treasures there they get. However, at any time, once they think it's secured, then the sea creatures that these guys have been fighting against may come up, which could be the Sahagin, it could be Tritons, it could be water elementals or some kind of thing. Probably not water elementals, but it could be any number of creatures, sea hags, stuff like that, sirens that could come up, and then the players would have to face off against them as well. So that's the idea for the Stranded Pirates. Hope you like it. If you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe, and I will see you again next adventure. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see you then. Bye.